The Arizona desert shimmered under a relentless sun, its vastness broken only by the occasional majestic saguaro cactus reaching for the impossibly blue sky. The heat was a tangible presence, a dry, ancient breath that seemed to vibrate through the very air. Inside the meticulously designed, state-of-the-art research facility, nestled discreetly amidst this wild beauty, Dr. Aris Thorne felt a familiar, almost electric hum of anticipation. His life for the past decade had revolved around the profound mysteries of animal cognition, specifically focusing on the extraordinary intelligence of elephants. And then there was Ellie. Ellie, a magnificent African elephant with tusks that curved gracefully, was the centerpiece of their groundbreaking research. Her intellect defied every known boundary of her species, pushing the very definition of animal sentience. She wasn't just remarkably intelligent. To the astonishment of Dr. Thorne and his dedicated team, she was capable of rudimentary yet undeniably clear speech. Her words were slow, deliberate, and often had a mechanical quality, painstakingly formed through an intricate series of vocalizations and subtle trunk manipulations that miraculously mimicked human speech patterns. The journey to this point had been arduous, filled with countless hours of patient observation, innovative acoustic analysis, and an unwavering belief in Ellie's potential. Today, however, the atmosphere within the facility felt different, charged with an almost reverent silence. The usual background hum of machinery and the soft chatter of researchers were muted. Everyone sensed that something profound was about to unfold. Dr. Thorne, a man whose passion was palpable in his every movement, adjusted the recording equipment with meticulous care, his hands steady despite the tremor of excitement in his chest. Ellie stood calmly in her spacious, climate-controlled enclosure, her intelligent, deep-set eyes fixed on him, reflecting an uncanny depth of understanding. "Ellie," Dr. Thorne began, his voice a soft, almost hushed tone, "can you tell us about the humans?" He posed the question he had been contemplating for weeks, a question that sought to bridge the vast evolutionary chasm between their species. He waited, the air thick with expectation. A long, profound pause followed, filled only by the gentle whir of the air conditioning and the rhythmic beat of Dr. Thorne's own heart. Then Ellie rumbled, a deep, resonant vibration that seemed to emanate not just from her massive chest, but from the very earth beneath their feet, echoing the ancient wisdom of her kind. Humans are loud. The team, comprising leading specialists in linguistics, ethology, and cognitive science, exchanged nervous glances. This wasn't entirely new. Ellie had often made observations about the high noise levels of their equipment, the distant drone of the nearby highway, or the occasional loud conversations of the staff. It was a consistent, if somewhat curious, comment. But then she continued, her voice gaining an unusual, almost sorrowful cadence that sent shivers down their spines. "They forget the whisper." Dr. Thorne leaned forward, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. "The whisper, Ellie." "What whisper?" he urged, his voice barely above a whisper himself, captivated by her enigmatic words. Ellie shifted her immense weight, a subtle tremor running through her powerful frame, like a seismic shift in the desert itself. "The whisper of the earth, of the wind, of other hearts." She paused again, a long, pregnant silence that held the entire room captive. And then, when she spoke again, her words were clearer, more distinct, and more chillingly precise than any utterance she had ever made. "Humans destroy what they do not hear." A stunned, absolute silence descended upon the room, broken only by the faint hum of the recording equipment. The implication of her statement was profound, staggering in its simplicity and its directness, a searing critique delivered by a creature they had painstakingly sought to understand, but perhaps had fundamentally failed to truly listen to. Dr. Thorne felt a sudden, inexplicable chill despite the oppressive desert heat. Was Ellie speaking solely of environmental destruction, the heedless tearing apart of natural habitats, or was she delving deeper, touching upon a more profound lack of human empathy, a failure of connection, a disconnect from the intrinsic rhythms of life itself. The crushing weight of her words hung heavy in the air, a shocking revelation from an elephant, a truth that would undoubtedly reverberate far beyond the confines of their isolated research facility. The implications for humanity, articulated with such raw, unadorned honesty by this majestic creature, were unsettling, undeniably profound, and irrevocably changed their perception of their own species. Enjoying the journey with Ellie? Don't miss out on what happens next. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for the thrilling continuation of this story. Remember, this is a fictional tale designed to explore the depths of imagination. The weeks that followed Ellie's startling declaration were a maelstrom of activity, punctuated by moments of intense introspection within the research facility. Ellie's words, amplified by the pervasive reach of the internet and scientific journals, had sparked an unprecedented debate among the global scientific community. The sheer audacity of an elephant making such a profound philosophical statement captivated minds worldwide, causing both skepticism and profound wonder. Within Dr. Thorne's team, the atmosphere was one of fervent discussion and re-evaluation. He found himself constantly replaying the recording of Ellie's voice, dissecting every syllable, searching for deeper, hidden meanings in her pronouncements. Was there a nuance he had missed? A layer of understanding yet to be uncovered? His colleague, Dr. Lena Hansen, a brilliant ethologist known for her pragmatic, evidence-based approach, tried to contextualize Ellie's astonishing statements. Aris, she would often reason, her voice calm amidst the intellectual fervor, she's an elephant. Her perceptions of loudness and whispers are undeniably shaped by her unique auditory world, a realm far more acute and nuanced than our own. Perhaps she's simply reacting to the constant human presence, the incessant hum of our machinery, the pervasive disruption of her natural, silent environment. Lena's perspective was valid, grounded in scientific rigor, yet it felt incomplete to Dr. Thorne. He couldn't shake the persistent, almost visceral feeling that it was far more than a simple reaction to noise. There was a profound, almost spiritual depth to Ellie's words. Driven by this intuition, he began spending more time with Ellie, not merely observing her for data collection, but simply being present in her immense, calming presence. He would sit for hours, quietly, watching her movements, her subtle shifts in posture, the almost imperceptible flick of an ear. He noticed how she would stand motionless for long periods, her vast ears splayed, seemingly absorbing the subtle, almost imperceptible sounds of the desert, the dry rustle of a lizard scurrying across the sand, the distant haunting cry of a solitary hawk circling high above, the almost imperceptible shifts in the desert wind, a language in itself. These, he realized with a profound sense of recognition, were the whispers she spoke of, a symphony of nature, a delicate tapestry of life that humans, with their incessant busy lives and overwhelming cacophony of artificial noise, so often drowned out. One scorching afternoon, the sky, which had been a clear, relentless blue, began to darken with an ominous speed. A powerful dust storm, uncharacteristic for that time of year, brewed on the horizon, swiftly sweeping across the desert like an angry, golden wave. Visibility dropped to near zero within minutes, the air thick with swirling red dust. Inside the facility, the carefully regulated power flickered precariously, plunging sections of the complex into momentary darkness before the generators kicked in with a groan. A ripple of panic began to spread among the human staff as the wind howled like a banshee, its terrifying shriek threatening to breach the meticulously secured enclosures. Ellie, sensing the escalating fear and distress among the human staff with her uncanny empathy, suddenly let out a low, resonant hum. It wasn't a trumpet of distress or a call for help. It was something profoundly calming, almost a resonant lullaby that vibrated through the very floor. To everyone's astonishment, the other animals in nearby enclosures, which moments before had been agitated and restless, began to settle, their panicked movements subsiding into a quiet stillness. Ellie then slowly, deliberately, extended her trunk towards the main door of her enclosure, a precise, purposeful gesture that commanded attention. Dr. Thorne, despite the chaos swirling around him, felt an inexplicable, powerful pull to follow Ellie's silent lead. A deep, ancient instinct told him to pay attention, to truly listen to this creature. He quickly instructed the team to secure everything, but a part of his mind was solely focused on Ellie. Her movements were precise, purposeful. She wasn't attempting to escape, she was clearly guiding. As the storm intensified, reaching its terrifying zenith, Ellie repeated her calming hum, a steady anchor in the swirling chaos. Then she gently, almost imperceptibly, nudged a specific weak point in the enclosure wall, a section that had been undergoing repairs and, despite their best efforts, was inherently less secure than the rest. It was a subtle indication, a nearly imperceptible gesture, but to Dr. Thorne, whose senses were now hyper-tuned to Ellie's communication, it was as clear and undeniable as any human speech. He understood. The wall was a clear and present danger, and Ellie, with her profound awareness, was warning them of it. What hidden wisdom does Ellie possess? The culmination of this incredible journey awaits in the next chapter. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the powerful conclusion. Remember, this is a work of fiction crafted for your entertainment. Acting solely on Ellie's silent yet incredibly potent warning, Dr. Thorne and a small determined team worked frantically against the furious onslaught of the dust storm. The air was thick with abrasive dust, stinging their eyes and filling their lungs, but their focus was unwavering. They reinforced the vulnerable section of the wall with every available resource, their muscles aching, their faces streaked with sweat and grit. The dust storm raged for another grueling hour, battering the facility with immense, relentless force, testing every single structural integrity. When it finally began to subside, revealing a bruised amber sky that seemed to weep dust, the true, astonishing extent of Ellie's prescience became chillingly clear. The reinforced section of the wall, though visibly stressed and scarred by the storm's fury, had miraculously held firm. Other parts of the facility, less directly impacted by Ellie's warning and therefore not preemptively secured, showed signs of significant, worrying damage, including cracked foundations and warped structural beams. If they hadn't listened to Ellie, if they hadn't understood her profound whisper, the outcome could have been catastrophic, potentially leading to devastating injuries for the precious animals or even dangerous escapes into the unforgiving, vast desert. The incident solidified Dr. Thorne's deepest conviction. Ellie's initial statement about humans destroying what they don't hear wasn't merely a critique of environmental neglect, though it certainly encompassed that. It was a profound, multifaceted commentary on humanity's pervasive struggle to truly connect, to genuinely listen to the subtle, often inaudible cues of the world around them, whether from the intricate rhythms of nature, from the unspoken needs and emotions of other humans, or even from the quiet, often ignored wisdom of their own inner selves. Ellie, in her uniquely eloquent way, was not just speaking words. She was urging them, with the ancient wisdom of her species, to reclaim a lost sensitivity, a fundamental attunement to the world that modern life had relentlessly eroded. In the profound aftermath of the storm, the entire scientific approach at the facility underwent a radical, transformative shift. While rigorous scientific research continued, there was a newfound, almost sacred emphasis on observation, on quiet, respectful presence, on learning to hear the whisper that Ellie had so poignantly spoken of. The team began to understand that true understanding didn't always come through data points and empirical measurements, but often through a deep, empathetic connection. Dr. Thorne, now more attuned than ever, began to notice how the other elephants in the herd communicated through infrasound, vibrations in the very ground beneath their feet, too low for human ears to detect, through subtle shifts in body language, through nuanced gestures of their trunks and ears. It was a language far more complex, intricate and deeply nuanced than human speech, a silent symphony of connection. He realized with a wave of humbling insight that Ellie's spoken words were merely the visible tip of an immense, unfathomable iceberg of communication, a mere glimpse into the vast ocean of her understanding. Ellie herself never offered another shocking, declarative statement quite like her first. Instead, her communication became more about subtle guidance, about leading the team to observe specific, often overlooked natural phenomena in the desert, or about quietly pointing out minute changes in the environment that often went entirely unnoticed by human eyes. She taught them, not through explicit instruction but through her very being, to listen with more than just their ears, to see with more than just their eyes, to feel with more than just their hands. The facility, once solely a place of empirical study, transformed, becoming a sanctuary, not just for animals, but for profound learning about the interconnectedness of all life. Dr. Aris Thorne, standing humbly beside Ellie under the vast star-dusted desert sky, finally understood that the true, awe-inspiring wonder wasn't just an elephant that possessed the astonishing ability to talk, but an elephant that possessed the profound wisdom to remind humans how to truly listen, and in doing so, how to finally hear the subtle, profound symphony of the world around them, a symphony they had long forgotten. Thank you for watching When an Elephant That Can Talk said something shocking about humans. Scientists were stunned. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking and emotionally engaging fictional narratives. Your support helps us create more stories that inspire and connect.